Introduction to the law of demand. The law of demand is a fundamental principle in economics that describes the relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity demanded by consumers. This presentation will explore the definition, factors influence demand, and the practical applications of the law of demand. Definitions of the law of demand. Law of demand states that all other factors being equal, as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. In simple terms, people tend to buy less of something when the price goes up. Inverse relationship satisfies Baribus. The law of demand establishes an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. As the price rises, demand falls. The law of demand assumes all other factors influencing demand remain constant. These factors include income, preferences, and the price of related goods. Rational consumers. The law of demand assumes that consumers are rational and make decisions based on their preferences and budget constraints. Factors affecting demand. Several factors can influence the demand for a good or service. These factors can either increase or decrease the demand, shifting the demand curve. Income. When income increases, consumers can afford to purchase more goods and services, leading to an increase in demand for normal goods. However, demand for inferior goods may decrease. Price of related goods. The price of substitutes and complements can impact demand. If the price of a substitute good decreases, demand for the original good might decline. Conversely, if the price of a complementary good decreases, demand for the original good might increase. Consumer preferences. Change in consumer taste and preferences can significantly impact demand. When a good becomes more popular, its demand rises. Conversely, if a good becomes less popular, its demand falls. The demand curve. The demand curve is a graphical representation of the relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity demanded. The curve slopes downwards, illustrating the law of demand's inverse relationship. Demand schedule, a table listing different price levels and the corresponding quantities demanded, creating the data points for demand curve. Plotting points. The data points from the demand schedule are plotted on a graph with the price on the vertical axis and quantity demand on the horizontal axis. Connecting the points. The plotted points are connected with a smooth curve, creating the demand curve, which showcases the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. The law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility explains the downward sloping demand curve. It states that as a consumer consumes more units of a good, the additional satisfaction or utility derived from each additional unit decreases. Initial consumption. The first unit of a good typically provides the highest marginal utility as it satisfies a strong need or desire. Subsequent consumption. As the consumer consumes more units, the additional satisfaction gained from each unit decreases, resulting in diminishing marginal utility. Reduced demand. The diminishing marginal utility explains why consumers are willing to pay less for additional units of a good. This contributes to the downward sloping demand curve. Exceptions to the law of demand. The law of demand holds true in most situations, but there are a few exceptions where the relationship between price and quantity demanded might not to be inverse. Given goods. Inferior goods that consumers buy more of when their price rises due to the lack of available substitutes. Wealth goods. Luxury goods whose demand increases when the price rises as consumers perceive higher prices as a sign of prestige or a quality. Speculative demand. Demand for goods driven by the